Hi guys, welcome to Simply Scuba. So we're coming up to the end of 2019, so of course we're going to do a top 5, and of course this week's video we're going to be looking at our best-selling reels for 2019. So as you might notice, all of these reels are actually spools, which kind of shows how the sort of market is going. People are going for the more compact and sort of neat and tidy spools. Although not everyone actually knows how to use them properly, as you'll see in this video. Let's take a closer look at 5 of our best-selling reels or spools. Okay, so number 5 we don't actually have in stock right now, so I can't really show you anything, but here's a picture of it. So this is the Apeks LIFELINE spool in the 45 meter length. So this blue version of their LIFELINE meter spool is made out of anodized aluminium, and it's got lots of little features all over it that just make it sort of really practical and useful. Other than the sort of orange line, which makes it really stand out in blue waters, it's got these kind of flared edges to it, which makes it much easier to sort of wind onto it. And of course it isn't overwound neither, so you can get to all the holes around the sides without having to just lose any of the line. In at number 4, we have the ISC 30 meter spool. So this is a very sort of, it's just a basic spool. Nothing too fancy. You've got a plastic spool. It's got the square edges. It's got 30 meters of line. But as is atypical with these types of spools, it's overspun, so you can't actually reach the actual holes to lock it off onto. So you do have to lose a bit of line first before you can physically use it. It's cheap and cheerful. You get a brass double ender as well, which isn't the best. Brass is nice because it doesn't rust, but it is quite soft, so it can sort of bend. So yeah, if you're just after a sort of cheap disposable spool, then yeah, you can definitely take a look at this one. In at number 3, we have the Mares Compact Reel. So this is a weird kind of hybrid between a spool and a reel. It kind of looks and kind of acts like a spool, but it has a locking mechanism and a winder like a reel does. So if you don't want to use it as a regular spool, you have this little handle that kind of folds out, and then you have this little tab that you can use as a physical winder. So it's kind of the shape and size of a spool, but with the kind of features of a reel. So it's kind of that hybrid. Lots of moving parts for me. It's got another brass double ender, which I'm not a huge fan of. The leader on it is comically small. I'd be definitely changing that. It's fine, it'll do the job. It just makes sort of winding it back in that much easier. But for me personally, too many moving parts. Coming in at number 2, we have the 15 meter Apeks LIFELINE spool. Now this one obviously we do have in stock, so you can see it. So metal body, anodized aluminium makes it very light and very strong. Here we can really see that kind of flared edges. We've got the grip around those sort of edges as well, so you get a decent amount of grip and a decent sized finger hole through that. Very compact, sort of brightly colored as well, so it really stands out. You can see it. This is great for sort of holiday diving and your sort of final safety stop, because you don't have too much line. It's just 15 meters. It's nice and neat. So if you're just doing 5 meter safety stops, this is really all you need. And finally, another entry for the Apeks LIFELINE range. This is the 30 meter spool. So the green variation is really your sort of workhorse. It's the good all-rounder. 30 meters of line is plenty for any kind of deco stop where you need to send up a DSMB. Bright orange line, you've still got that yellow lead line as well, which is much stronger than the that sort of Eldred line. And yeah, it's just that good all-rounder. It's nice and strong. So if you're going to invest in one spool that kind of does everything, then this is what most people seem to be going for. Okay, so there were 5 of our best-selling spools for 2019, but what do you use? Are you old school and use a proper sort of ratchet reel, or do you use one of these modern, neat little sort of spools? Let us know in the comments below. Of course, let us know what your favorite one was. All of these are available on our website, simplyscuba.com, and of course, don't forget to visit our Teespring stores for our latest merchandise. Thanks for watching, and safe diving. Let's get a little bit fiddly, especially if you're wearing thick gloves. So with this, you get a big old chunky handle and a big sort of cutting hook. You do also have access to that serrated edge as well, so if you do need to use it as a conventional knife, it does work in that way, but you're less likely to sort of cut yourself or your own gear, and it's relatively